Hi there. I thought I'd take a look at the solo in Awaken by Yes, played by Steve Howe. It's the one in the Master of Images bit, about 11:23 it starts. I've always been fascinated with this chord sequence, the way that he basically goes through every chord, every major chord in the cycle of fifths, and I always found it fascinating, and I've never really looked at it before. But I decided to transcribe the guitar part and the bass part as well, just because the bass moves interestingly too. So first of all, I recorded a video playing along with the score. It's actually mimed to it, so it's slightly out here and there. But I'd like to go through what I think's going on. I think Steve Howe's playing here is fantastic, on the telly, and he goes with the changes, which is great. I mean, it's really interesting the way he plays through all these chords. You got to play all 12 of them. So let's start off with. So he starts off with this big bass note, and then, as if to announce that he's using a Telecaster, this lick here is very sort of country, isn't it? So sort of pedal steel bend. So that's how he starts it off. I'm playing a Telecaster, guys, into a kind of blues lick there. There are some, he's playing some pentatonic stuff here, which, he's not that well known to be a kind of bluesy player, but he manages to fit them in and make them sound not like blues licks, possibly to do with what chords he's playing over them. Yeah, so carrying on, so after this, he's up here in the, so we've come from an E chord to an A chord, and then we're going to D to G. But he's playing this A major pentatonic here over the A and the D change. And ending up, so that's that bit there, ending up here to F. So, I mean, the first note on F is just a sort of fall off, but on that E, which I don't think is harmonically thinking there. I think he's just fallen off. But next we've got this kind of motif he uses a lot, where he's jumping from a tone above. He's doing a little motif where he sort of he pulls off onto a. But that happens a few times in this solo. And then. Yeah, I mean, the notation I did here rhythmically is a little bit suspect. I'm not exactly clear on that. I mean, obviously he's not writing it out. He's feeling it. We'll and then into this. This is definitely into a triplet here, where he does this nice little round to get to B flat. So again, so it's going from this highlighting the fifth of the chord there on the F, and then to the root of the B flat. So it's all nicely within the changes. And again, we've got this tone above kind of motif happening again here. We're now in the chord B flat, so it's just moving above the B flat to the C, and then we get to E flat. He's playing this little motif here, which is great the way he plays it 3 times and then condenses it when it gets into A flat. So both this motif works well over E flat because you got the root going down to the 6th, and then on 8th that's there, and then when it changes to A flat here, it becomes the 5th going to the 3rd. So I really like this, the way that he pulls this scale off at the end as well. I mean, it's so we've got, and then to get to D flat. So he ends up on the root here. So we're in a D flat chord now. So again, nicely playing through the changes. And then to get into the second time through, we got this, which just outlines the 3rd on the F sharp, down to the 5th on the B. Carrying on with the solo, I'd just like to talk actually a little bit about the bass. Let's go back to the beginning, because the bass has this kind of thing going all the way through it, where it starts on a root note, then goes to an inversion. So he's playing a root here, and then he's playing C sharp here, so he's playing the first inversion, and then it goes to the second inversion in the next chord, and then back to the root. And it does this all the way through. This is an interesting pattern that I saw when I wrote it down. So he's always doing this throughout the whole 12 chords. He goes root, first inversion, second inversion, root, first inversion, second inversion, root, root, first inversion, second inversion. See what I mean? It's and then we're up to root here on the D flat, and it again, it's first inversion on the F sharp, second inversion on the B, and he does that. So he starts off an octave in the high octave, and then he does exactly the same thing in the lower octave in the second half of the solo. There's one rhythmic difference which is interesting as well, which is here on the second time through. He plays a D chord, and the organ does it as well. They play it on beat 2, whereas in the first round he plays it on beat 3. So there's an interesting little snippet there. Getting back to the solo then, so now we're in the second half of the solo. So he's come off this high, another one of these drop-offs, right down to, which is, I really love that bit. really, the telly sounds great there. Into this kind of Steve Howe lick here, where he's doing all his sort of pull off. It's this kind of Chet Atkins sort of stuff that I think was where he got this from. Now I transcribed this, and I'm not sure if it's totally accurate, because it sounds like a sort of, when you hear it, it sounds like a crazy kind of sort of melee of notes there. But I think it's roughly what he's doing here. So you've got this. Sorry. It's yeah, do that again. And into this sort of is really whacking down onto the first string here. But all of this is really just a guitar-y lick, you know, that sits happily over the D chord and the G chord and the C chord, and then, you know, by the time it gets to here, we're in F, and then he's climbing up B flat and ending on the root of the B flat here in the second bar of B flat. So again, it's all you know, even when he's using the sort of guitar-y tricks like here, he's still very much in the key, and still in the keys, should I say. And it works fantastically. So then by the time we get to E flat, again he's outlining the chord here. Going from E flat to A flat, and then up to this great little pentatonic lick here, which is, you know, I mean that's sort of like something that Eric Clapton might play, but because it's over an A flat chord, he's playing an F minor minor pentatonic, you might think of it as, but it's also known, it also could be a flat major pentatonic. So using a major pentatonic there, carrying on, which works just as well over D flat, obviously. So a lot of those notes are in D flat as well. So, and then to finish off, we've got this little arpeggio just to outline the F sharp, and then here the third of the B, and back to the E chord. So I think all in all, this is a brilliant solo, and yeah, it's good fun to work this out. I hope this has been of some interest to you, and thanks for watching. Cheers.